Beruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem to get on Daf Kuf Chof Aleph Amud Beis, 15 lines from the top. Our Mishnah stated that a person may take a ka'ara, a bowl, and put it and turn it over a nair on Shabbos to prevent the nair from being mazik the ceiling. Similarly, a person can take a ka'ara, a bowl, and cover tsoya of a tarnagoyles to prevent a child from becoming sullied. And finally, the Mishnah stated that a person can take a ka'ara and cover a scorpion to prevent the scorpion from biting. All of this is according to the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, who says a malacha shenetzricha legufa is poter aval oser. Over here, however, since b'makom tsa'ar legazu bo rabbanan, therefore lechatchila, a person may overturn the ka'ara in these cases. Rabbi Yehuda, however, argues and says a malacha shenetzricha legufa is chayiv chatos. And indeed, he brings Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai as a support for his opinion. Who Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai says, Chashashani, I'm suspect that maybe in the case where a person takes a ka'ara and overturns it and puts it on top of the scorpion, he will be chayiv chatos. What is his chashash? Because maybe indeed it's not pikuach nefesh. And if it's not pikuach nefesh because the scorpion did not run after him, thereby it's a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa, which is chayev chatos. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, kol hamazikin neherogin b'Shabbos. Rabbi Shimon ben Levi says all of the mazikin who are lethal may be killed on Shabbos even if they are not pursuing a person. Mosi Rav Yosef asked from the following brayso, Chamisha neherogin b'Shabbos. There are 5 that are stated that one can kill on Shabbos because of their danger. Ve'elu hein. Zevuv shebe'eretz Mitzrayim. Ve'tzi'ira shebe'ninvei. Ve'akrov shebe'dachayev. Ve'nacha shebe'eretz Yisrael. Ve'kelev shoyte be'kol makom. So here it's stated these are 5 mazikin that one may kill on Shabbos. The Gemara then goes on to explain its question. Mani, who is the author of this brayso? Rabbi Yehuda, if you're going to suggest that's Rabbi Yehuda, Omar malacha she'ena tzricha legufa chayiv alei. He holds that a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa is chayiv, and therefore, if they're not pursuing a person, and it's not pikuach nefesh, therefore, it's a malacha she'ena tzricha legufa would be chayiv. Elo lav Rabbi Shimon, rather you must say that it's Rabbi Shimon. V'hani hu deshari achrini loy, and only these 5 that are stated in the brayso are going to then be permitted to kill. But the other ones that are mazikin, not. And therefore, it's a kasha on Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi who says, without exception, that when there are mazikin that are lethal, one may not only trap them, but even can kill them on Shabbos. Answers the Gemara, Rabbi Yirmiyahu. Rabbi Yirmiyahu says, Uman neimalon deha matartzta. He dilma shabashtahi. Who says this is a correct braysa? Maybe this braysa is mishubashta. Therefore, it's an incorrect braysa, and therefore it's not a kasha on Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. Rav Yosef says, Ano masnina lo, I taught this braysa, v'usivna lo, and I asked the question of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi, v'ana metaritzna lo, and I will answer the question of Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi as follows: Beratzu acharov. That which Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi was talking about, mazikin that are running after a person, they're pursuing a person, and therefore that's a state of danger, a pikuach nefesh, whereby everybody, including Rabbi Yehuda, would agree that it's a malacha that is muter lechatchila because of pikuach nefesh, doiche Shabbos, v'divrei hakol, and therefore not only Rabbi Shimon but even Rabbi Yehuda would agree in this case it would be muter. That which it states in the brayso that there are 5 mazikin, that's talking when they are not pursuing. Then the brayso says only these 5 type of mazikin, which are most dangerous, can be killed on Shabbos even when they're not pursuing a person. Tani Tanakamedu Rava, the following teaching was taught in front of Rava bar Rav Huna, Rava the son of Rav Huna. Hahoreg nechashim va'akrabim b'Shabbos ein ruach chasidim noiche himenu. If a person kills snakes or scorpions on Shabbos, even though they are indeed dangerous, but they're not pursuing a person, then the ruach of the chasidim, of the pious ones, are not going to then be satisfied with this person. Omar le, Rava bar Rav Huna said back to the one who taught him this brayso, ve'oisan chasidim ein ruach chachamim noicha mehem. And those pious ones, those so-called pious ones, he says, the ruach of the chachamim, of the sages, will not be satisfied with them, because indeed, if they come in contact with the nachashim and akravim, who are potentially dangerous, and do not kill them, then they are then causing these things to then be a danger to other people. Upliga de Rav Huna, and this that Rava bar Rav Huna stated argues on his own father Rav Huna. The Rav Huna chazilahu gavro de kotatil ziburo. He found a person who killed a bee on Shabbos. Omar le shalem tinhu lekulu. Did you finish the job? There are many more bees out there, and therefore, by you killing this one was inappropriate. And therefore, this is certainly a machlokes between Rava bar Rav Huna and his own father Rav Huna. Tanu Rabbanon, the Gemara brings the following brayso: Nizdamnu lo nechashim va'akrabim. If a person has either a snake or a scorpion that comes in contact with him, hargon biyadu shenizdamnu lo hargon. If he kills them, then it's clear min hashamayim that he was given the opportunity. Since he was a person who was zakai, then we say zechus, that megaglin is zechus al yidei zakai, and therefore he was given the merit to kill the snake and scorpion. Loy hargon, however, if he did not kill them, biyadua shenizdanu lo hargoi v'nase loy min hashamayim naso no neis min hashamayim. And if he did not kill them, then you should know they were sent min hashamayim as a reminder that he should have been killed because he did a certain chet, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved his life and performed a nes. Omar ulo v'item Rav Huna Rav Chano Amar Rabbi Yochanan b'nishufin boy. Rabbi Yochanan qualifies and says that which we said, that a person who kills the snake, we say it's a zechus, and megaglin zechus al yidei zakai. It's talking about if the snake was hissing, then we know that it was angry and is potentially dangerous, but otherwise not. Om Rabbi Abba bar Kahano pam achas nofel echod mi Beis Hamedrash. One time a nachash fell and entered the Beis Hamedrash. Ve'omad noyusi echad vehargu, and a certain Jew, a Navyusi Jew, a Jew from the area of Navyusi, he killed this nachash. Omar Rebbe then stated, Paga boy keyoytze boy. He should have been Paga boy, something similar. The question is, what did he mean? Iboilu Paga boy keyoytze boy. The shapir of it, did he mean to say that it's good what he did, and therefore he was strengthening what he did by then encouraging him? Or was he saying it as a criticism? Toshma, let's try to bring the following proof. The Rabbi Abba, Berei Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Rabbi Zera, these two sages, Hayvu Yosbe Ikloi Lebe Rabbi Yonai. They were sitting in front of the entranceway to the house of Rabbi Yonai. Nofak Milsa Mibinai, a certain matter they were discussing amongst themselves. Boy Minei Rabbi Yonai. Then they came to ask Rabbi Yonai the following question: Mahu laharog nachoshim va'akrabim b'Shabbos? Can one kill these dangerous nachoshim and akrabim on Shabbos when they are not pursuing a person? Omar lehu, he said to them, Tzira ani hareg. I kill even a tzira, a hornet. Nachash va'akrav lo koshikin. And certainly, if I can kill a wasp, then certainly when it comes to nachash and akrabim, you can kill. The Gemara says you have no proof from there that you can kill nachashim and akrabim on Shabbos if they're not pursuing a person, because dilma lefi tumoy, maybe in his tmimius, in his innocent state, so to speak. That's what he was talking about, as follows: if there are spit on the ground, which is unpleasant and repulsive, so a person normally is prohibited from then mashaf the ground with his foot, because he can then be mashve gumos. He can then go ahead and close the holes, the uneven parts of the ground, and be over an iser midiraisa of boina on Shabbos. And therefore, one cannot normally then use his foot to then mashaf the ground. But if a person is walking and there's spit on the ground, he can go ahead and, while he's walking, the roke, stand onto the roke and continue to walk on the roke. And we're not concerned that he's going to then be mashve gumois. Similarly, if a nachash were to come in his path while he's walking, he can walk and step on the nachash. And it's not going to be a problem because here it's a davar she'eino miskaven, and it's not vaded is going to kill the nachash. So therefore, even Rabbi Yehuda says a davar she'eino miskaven that is also here, it's mutter because lefi tumoy. And similarly, he said, if a scorpion comes in a person's path while he's walking, he can step on the scorpion, and it's going to be mutter to do so because of lefi tumoy. So here the Gemara then leaves it as a question. It's not clear whether one can kill nechashim or akrabim if they're not pursuing a person on Shabbos. Maybe what he meant to say is only lefi tumoy that's permissible, but otherwise not. Says the Gemara, "Vayter of Abba bar Marta, who Abba bar min Yomi, Abba bar Marta, who was also known as Abba bar min Yomi, Hava maske beit the Reish Galusa Zuzi. He owed money to the Reish Galusa, certain Zuzi, certain money. I see you ka mitzare le, his household that he owed money to, they brought him to the house of the Reish Galusa, and they were mitzar him. And it sounds like they were bringing him to the house during the week. And then there was an incident that took place on Shabbos as follows. Havashadi roika. There was spit on the ground, on the floor of the house of Reish Galusa on Shabbos, and it was repulsive. Omar lehu Reish Galusa. Reish Galusa then said to people who were standing nearby, Aisu mana sachifu ilave. Take a kli and turn it over and put it on top of this spit. Omar lehu. So Abba bar min Yomi said to them, Lo tzrichisu hachi. You don't have to do this. You don't have to take a kli and cover it up. Rabbi Yehuda roik darsu levituma, because Rabbi Yehuda said that a person can then stand on rok while he's walking lefitumoi, and therefore it's permissible to do in that way. You don't have to go ahead and take a kli. Omar lehu surbe mirabonenhu. So the Reish Galusa noticed that there's a person who's a young Talmid Chacham, shivkuhu, and he instructed his household to then leave him. In other words, the mas, it sounds like there was certain maybe taxation that he owed. So therefore he said that he's a Talmid Chacham who's then potter from taxation. Rabbi Abba bar Kahana Rabbi Chanina. Petumois shel beis Rebbe muter l'talton b'Shabbos. Since we had a statement earlier in regards to Nechashim and Akrabim by Rabbi Abba bar Kahana, named Rabbi Chanina, so now we'll bring other statements in his name. Petumois shel beis Rebbe muter l'talton b'Shabbos. He says the statement that petumois, that the lamps, menorahs of beis Rebbe are mutter to then move on Shabbos. Omar Rebbe Zeir benetilon biyadei achas or b'shtei yadayim. Can one take it with one hand, or can even take it with two hands? On the top of Chof Beis Amud Aleph, Omar Le, he responded, Ke'oisin shebeis avicha. They are like those petumois in the house of your father, and therefore they're small. That's why he can metaltal then on Shabbos. But if they were large, if they were big, then he'd be kovei makom, they would be muktzah. He would not be able to then take them on Shabbos because he's makpid on these petumois. V'om Rabbi Abba bar Kahana Rabbi Chanina, he asked a second question. Kroinoi shel beis Rebbe. He made another second statement rather. Kroinoi shel beis Rebbe muter letalton b'Shabbos. The carriages of beis Rebbe, the household of Rebbe, they are permitted to then move on Shabbos. They can carry them on Shabbos. Omer Rebbe Zeir benitilon benitolin be'odam echad b'shnei bnei odam. Can they be then removed by one person or even by two people? Omar le ke'oisin shel beis avicha. Similarly answered him, these are like the ones of your father's household, which were then used, and they are light. Therefore, only a small type of carriage, whereby you can then, one person can remove them. But if it was bigger and only two people can then move them, that would be prohibited, because that would be, again, a muksa item that people were koveya makom to keep in a certain place because they were too heavy and they would be makbid on them. V'omar Rabbi Abba Bar Kahana made a third statement. The Gemara records, Hitir lahem Rabbi Chanina lebeis Rabbi lishtos yayin bekrona shel nachrim bechoisem echad. He made the statement that Rabbi Chanina permitted the household of Rabbi to drink wine that was brought from these carriages that belong to Nachrim. Now we know that Yayin Nesech, when Goyim have contact with wine, so the Chachamim were goyzer that you cannot drink the wine because maybe it was used for Avodah Zarah. And therefore, if it has two chasimois, then these two chasamos would be enough to then matir such wine, because then we would say that it was not tainted with. However, it's a machloikis if there's only one chaysim. If it has one chaysim, maybe indeed they did taint the wine and use it for yain nesech, while other opinions say that it's mutter. It's a machloikis Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim. And the Gemara says over here, v'lo yadana, that I don't know when Rav Chanina permitted the household of Rabbi to drink this wine, what was his rationale? Imishum discover like Rabbi Eliezer, he permitted because that's the sheet of Rabbi Eliezer. Imishum aimsu de beinasi, or he holds like the Chachamim who prohibited, but over here it's different because the fear of the household of the Nesiya. In other words, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi was made Nasi, and it was already considered to be a accepted prestigious position that even the Romans would know that you have to then be very careful with your behavior towards the house of the Nesiya, and therefore maybe here they were careful not to then taint the wine, and that's why he permitted it. But you have no proof that indeed he holds like Rabbi Eliezer. So he was mistupak whether the shita of Rabbi Chanina was permitting the house of Rabbi because he holds of Rabbi Eliezer, or because of the shita of the Chachamim, but over here it's different.